Welcome to my Harley bobber build, part 6. This part we're just adding on all the little extras, all the little brackets were made up. This was a bracket I made simply for the ignition coil. Just a simple piece of aluminium, just straight, drilled a couple of holes, bent it just to shape around the heads there, and the ignition coil basically just bolts onto it, drill 2 holes and the ignition coil just tightens down onto it. That's my dad tightening it up there. I wasn't sure where to put the actual ignition switch, but if you can see just below where his finger is there's another wee bar there which I made just a simple straight bit which is going to attach below that. So sits on quite nice and neat there. I know a lot of other people get a smaller, kind of flatter ignition coil, but again just trying to save money, so I just used the existing one that was on it. The little bracket I made, that's it there for the ignition switch. It was just a scrap bit of aluminium I had. I drilled a couple of holes just so that it slots onto the bottom of the ignition coil. That's them all painted up and ready to go. You'll see the ignition switch on a wee bit later when I get everything back on place and the bike's ready to go. This was the number plate. I searched about to try and get a tail light number plate together. I actually found this one £15 second hand, so that was pretty cool. Just made out a wee aluminium plate just to back behind the number plate and just a wee straight bar to attach to the bike. That's the tail light going on, just simply sits in that little bracket. I drilled holes just for everything else so that it fit it on nice and neat like that. I'll then paint that up and it'll be completely black so you won't really see the joins at the back. Sits on like that and goes on the back of the bike as I'm showing here. I put a slight little bend on that straight bar there which attaches on, just to give it the angle so the light was shining straight down and you could still see the number plate. A lot of these little brackets I made, it looks like I only made one and put it on and everything was perfect, but a lot of the times I had to make a couple, or I had to reshape them or re-drill holes. I think this particular number plate here, that wee connection there that's on the back of the bike, I actually changed it from that one. That one I just thought was a wee bit light. So I actually got a heavier bit and just done the same process just with a slightly thicker bar, just give it a wee bit more stability. So that's that on, ready for the plate, and I'll paint that up again. The speedo, I'm just fitting here beside. There is a little catch just at the side of the frame which I can put it on there, so it's just a matter of making a simple little bracket. At the back of the speedo there's 2 wee mounting screws, so I was just going to use them to mount it onto a simple wee bracket. Just made like a wee L-shaped bracket again out of light aluminium. Just slots on there and then we'll bolt on to the speedo. Now the speedo, so the wee bracket's quite cool. You can either put it out left or right, but I decided to go right and put it onto the left hand side of the frame. So it just sits on there and simply bolts onto the frame, and then all the wiring will be done at a later date. Now the exhaust, I've looked around for an exhaust and I can't get anything cheap at all, so I'm just going to use the existing exhaust. I was always going to keep this anyway because I need it for the MOT to run straight bars out without baffles or anything that wouldn't pass the MOT. So I just took the baffles off and I'll get straight tubes for it. This section here I'm going to cut out, this connecting section I'll cut out, just weld a couple of patches over that, and again make a couple of straight tubes to replace the baffles when it's not when it's went through the MOT, and then I'll change it out. I just decided to put this plate back on. I was going to leave this off just to show the build in its entirety, but after putting it on I actually liked it a lot better. It just cleaned the whole bottom of the bike up. I think if you have an old iron head or shovel head or something it looks good, but for this purpose I think I'll just put it back on, and again I think it just cleans the bike up. So just reattaching everything there. So for the fender then, instead of using stays running off the frame to keep the fender solid, I just made this little bracket which goes in below the fender. It's just like a wee brace, and where the fender attaches it just kind of strengthens everything up, so it makes the fender a lot more rigid, so you don't need stays on it. I just want as little on the bike really as possible, you know, so I think it just looks nice and clean there, and it's pretty solid. Obviously the frame section you see below there still has to be cut, but I'm going to do that pretty soon now. So that's the bike for now, and as you can see I got 16-inch ape hangers there. So next stage really is I'm going to take the bike to the mechanic and get a lot of the electrics done. I have a local mechanic here, he'll do all the electrics for me because I'm really no use at that whatsoever, so I'll get it done right. But hopefully I'll be able to get footage of that as well, and I'll show you guys the progress. Thanks again for watching, cheers.